This episode of the Accounting Insiders podcast is brought to you in part by Xero. Xero is a powerful cloud accounting software that improves efficiencies across your practice. With all client data stored on a single unified ledger, you and your clients can easily access and collaborate on the same set of books. Xero's advisor tools and automation solutions reduce time-consuming manual tasks and put data entry on autopilot. Work faster and more efficiently than ever before with Xero. Visit xero.com/accounting insiders to learn more. Hello and welcome to another episode of Accounting Insiders podcast. My name is Gary DeHart. I'm the publisher of Insightful Accountant and the host of Accounting Insiders podcast. My guest today, it is July the 12th, 2023. My guest today is Martin Zych from Jirav. I think, Martin, you're the CEO and co-founder. Has that changed since the last time we talked about 3 or 4 months ago?
Same title, Chief Giraffe Wrangler as well, maybe.
There we go. All right, Chief Giraffe Wrangler, perfect. So let's kick off with why the giraffe. I know we talked about it last time, but everybody doesn't listen to every episode. So let's touch on that. Why the giraffe? What's up with the giraffe?
Yeah, so a little bit about Giraffe. Giraffe's an all-in-one financial forecasting tool for accountants. So we connect all your accounting data and your sales data, account data, and we join it all in a big model of the business and let you see where you're going. And so when I was thinking about the symbolism of what we do, really love how the giraffe's the tallest animal in the world, and it sees above all the trees and all the bushes in every direction. So that kind of spirit animal is perfect for forecasting because we're giving that line of sight for all of your customers and your clients that way.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's great. I had forgotten that. So thanks for the reminder. And so some big news before so you just got a big round of funding, but before we dive too deep into that, I want to just recap a little bit of our conversation from a few months ago. And basically the premise of that conversation that we had was leveraging FP&A in your advisory practice. So could you just kind of recap it? It was it's a little bit longer conversation, but recap what that means to the accounting professional, kind of leveraging FP&A in your firm and in an advisory practice.
Yeah, so we always hear about, this buzzword, ad advisory, but a lot of people don't know what does that actually mean. And a lot of people think that means just reading the report to their client, which, that's not advisory. It's about kind of bringing a level of insights and knowledge into what do the numbers really mean and ultimately, like, where are we going? And is that trending in the way that we want towards our customers' goals? So, leveraging FP&A for advisory is about kind of teasing out that conversation with your clients, seeing where do they want to be, next quarter or next year, and then creating a path and laying out that financial story for them. And here are the things we need to accomplish along the way to hit those goals. And those goals could be something like hitting profitability, or maybe it's having a certain amount of cash, or maybe it's, getting to a certain amount of headcount and growth, or opening a new location, whatever is pertinent for that business. But it's, we talk with our customers about that, and then we show them, here are all the things we need to do, and checking in and working through as a partner with them on that monthly basis. And when you do that, that's when you become, not just this number for reporting stuff, but instead you're actually a partner with them.
Right, running in tandem, right? You're helping them move the business forward and really understanding their business. And I think there's a big gap in the profession of people who are, as you said, kind of a herder of numbers versus someone who is actually taking that information, working with the client, and making it valuable. Because there's lots of data, a lot of great data, but if I don't know how to leverage it, or if I don't know how to read it, or take time, and I think a lot of times it's just the time challenge as a business owner. If I don't take the time to look at that data, it's no good, right? So having someone there that can give me guidance, look at the data, bring it to me and say, hey, let's set goals. What is important? And, do you want to go on a beach trip next year? Well, you're going to have to pay for it somehow, right? So let's figure out how you're going to make money. So it's great. So thanks for that recap. Big news. $20 million. That's a lot of zeros.
Yeah,
And
it's massive.
so you just got it's a series. This was Series B funding, right?
Yep.
Okay, for a total of 20 million, which brings you to a total of how much?
33 to date.
Okay, 33 to date. And to date started, when did that start? When was that? When did you get that first seed round?
So first seed round was like the summer of 2017.
Okay. So I think it would be interesting. I know it would be for me, and because most people, like we talked kind of in the green room, most people will never go through the process that you've had to go through, right? I mean, one, start a company, two, go out, with your idea and and convince people to give you $33 million over a 7-year period. So can you describe that just a little bit of, not necessarily, hey, here's how we came up with the idea of the business, but more going, all right, we've got the business. Now, how do we fund the business? I mean, I think it's interesting again, for a lot of people to understand what is a seed round, what Series A, what Series B, what comes after that. I've thrown a lot at you, but could you just give a little description of a little inside baseball, if you will, on what
Yeah.
that's like going through that process?
Yeah. So what it's like, so when I started the company, I used to be an outsourced controller and CFO. So I was doing fractional work, had a bunch of different clients, doing their models, and then helping them also run part-time books. And then when we first started Draft, we had this idea of, let's automate this monthly reporting package that we can do. Let's then be able to add forecasting and kind of scenario analysis there and do it really delightfully in a web-based way. So when we first started, I was doing this stuff in spreadsheets, going through manual processes. We ended up building a prototype and we did kind of a web-based view of it. We got our first couple of customers, and that was when we did our seed round. And it was our company was like 5 people. We were, a couple of folks in a little co-working place trying to figure things out. We ended up raising a couple $1 million there. Once we had validated that process. When you hear about seed rounds, a lot of times it's like you've got this nugget of an idea and just a couple of customers who believe in you and it's starting to work. And, so that's usually that first stage. That was 2017. Then over the next couple, like 2 years or so, we were in kind of call it a beta process where we were figuring out our tool and how to make this work at scale. And it was kind of crazy. Like we did our Series A was March of 2020. That was right when COVID happened and all the lockdowns. And it was,
I got money. I can't spend it. I can't go anywhere with it. So
yeah, but it was actually kind of an inflection point for us and I think the accounting industry too, because every company in the world was forced to redo their budget in March of 2020. There's not a single person who didn't. And they needed to do it really fast. Like this stuff was coming at us all, really quickly. And people are like, how am I going to pivot? How am I going to survive this thing? And and a lot of people leaned on their fractional controllers and their fractional CFOs to help them scenario plan and game this out. So right when that happened, we ended up getting a ton of people signing up for Draft because we could do this really quickly, and we were helping a lot of the leading kind of cloud forward accounting firms do this. So that was when we did our Series A. And at that time we got we have several hundred customers. We had enough proof that that we had a product that worked and that people were getting value. So that's kind of that second stage when we think about what is a Series A there.
And then you get to yesterday,
Yep.
Series B. Although that didn't start yesterday, when did that process really start? Like, how long does it take to go from hey, we need more money to actually securing that money? And obviously, anything you can't share, don't, and nobody will be offended by that.
Yeah, I mean, usually these processes can take like 3 to 6 months. It depends on, when you're running a company, you don't just go out to the street and then start saying, hey, I need money. Like these things are relationships that you develop over time. So a lot of the folks that we went out to towards the beginning of the year, we said, hey, we're growing like crazy. We're actually, even though the economy is pretty bad right now, like we actually were growing faster than we ever have been for the last few quarters, and it's primarily driven by accounting firms helping all these small businesses navigate, the current economy. And then from that, we said we need to be able to invest even more into this accounting ecosystem. And we're helping so many companies here and so many firms, guide their clients through this. So we went out, to several folks that had, we had known over the prior, say, a year or so, and then there was interest there. And that's where really quickly people said, okay, this is a real, valid problem that we're solving for. And we're helping a lot of people on this side. And, and then, from the beginning of the year until the spring, we got it all done. And then, everything closed and got announced the other day.
Yeah, that's exciting. And that, so what does that look like just from I mean, obviously you have, multiple investors that you have to keep happy. How often are you having to not check in, but how often are you having these calls with them going, okay, great, you're an FP&A guy, show me some results. How often is that taking place?
Yeah, I mean, our investors are really great partners, and we pick people because not just for someone to give, money for a company and fund it, but actually people that can understand what we're trying to do for the ecosystem and for our end customers. And they've had a lot of really relevant experience in this space, with, call it, previous gen tools. And now, they see us and our approach being a lot better and faster. But I'm talking to our various investors, every other week. We're on calls. We're going through. Here's what's good. Here's what we want to tweak. Here's, what we're adjusting on there. And they're really amazing and great partners there.
Okay. Then one more question around this part, and then we'll jump on to what are you going to do with all that money? But so what comes after, again, not knowing, having never gone through this process. So Series A, got that, or actually seed money, check. Series A, check. Series B, check. Is it how many series are there? Again, now I'm maybe showing my ignorance, but what's next? Is it Series C? And
I mean, you technically do this progression by letter. At some point, I'd love to just skip all the letters and go to Series J, so I could say we have Series Giraffe there. But yeah, the next one would be that if we decided to do another round on that side.
Okay, I got you. All right, well, great. So now you've got an extra $20 million laying around, just sitting here. I see just hanging out on the couches in there, stuffed inside the giraffes all over the office. So what do you do with that money, and how do you prioritize what you do with that money?
Yeah, so a lot of this is it's primarily driven by our accounting firms that we're working with and small businesses. So we're immediately doubling our accounting channel team, everyone that's supporting the industry on that side. We're also investing a ton. Within Giraffe, we're not just software, but we also have a team that helps you as an accounting firm be able to build up that advisory practice. We have different trainings. We do a lot of L&E. You can get CPE credit as you're going through and learning how to do this stuff. So being able to provide more of those resources is really, really key, because we've all bought tools before and then failed to launch. And a lot of it's around understanding the change management, how to go through that. And that's something that I think we do really uniquely versus a lot of other software vendors, is we're a partner with you on that side. So doubling those teams. We're also consistently growing our R&D team. We doubled our R&D team last year. So now, there were all these things we wanted to do, and we're able to do even more of them, concurrently. We'll do that even more on a bigger scale with this round closing. So when we get feedback from our customers and they say, this is great, and here's that one last thing that I wish we could do, now we can start knocking these things out, and it's all just going to keep snowballing, being better and better. And I'm really excited for that, because I'm a product person, and this is like the dream tool that I wish I had all my life. And now we've got the resources to just keep on innovating there.
That's great. And so let's wind the clock back to 2000. Well, prior to 2017, when you were in an accounting role, outsourced CFO or fractional CFO role, started the company. What's changed in the space? And when I say in the space, I'm going to say two ways: from the accounting firm perspective, but also just FP&A in general. Like, how has this evolved over the past 6-7 years um, since you kicked off Giraffe?
Yeah, so like back then, you probably have heard like the buzzword CAS in accounting for
Yeah.
client accounting services. Everything was about CAS 1.0. It's about how do you leverage some technology to automate, the base accounting process. A ton was done on, AP automation, on billing systems, things like that. Now people are starting to focus more on how do we automate the outputs and how do we make those even more valuable. So we've seen this huge shift, with the firms because they've automated the input side. A lot of companies now are moving to value-based billing or subscription billing, you could say. There's also a push for CAS 2.0. Like you see a lot of this through the AI CPA and CPA.com, and as well for kind of education around this. And it's all about helping people move along this journey from just the accounting data to more like controllership services,
Right.
and being able to help with operationalizing the things around the edges of accounting, and then ultimately go up that spectrum to like the CFO type services there. And you meet and now we're seeing more and more firms kind of start at that lower level and then grow their firm and start adding these things incrementally on that side. And Giraffe's been helping support that whole process because we can meet firms where they're at on that spectrum and then help them grow.
That's fantastic. And you see, what do you think? What is the next step in the evolution from your perspective? I mean, is it more like 2.0? Is it more getting firms to leverage the tools better? Is it more firms latching on to the tools, right? I mean, so you've got this group that's already using it, right? And but they're probably, like most companies, use their software solutions to 10% of their power, and there's tons of power left in it. Do you see that it's more taking the tools that we have as a profession and leverage them better to better support and serve our clients, or more people going, wow, I can do this? I don't know if that's a good question, but did you follow what I was trying to get to there?
Yeah, I think like today's accountants are way more technology, like tech forward than they were 10 years ago. We're seeing everyone loves, QuickBooks Online, Xero, NetSuite, Intact. Going into that, there's still QuickBooks Desktop and Enterprise is still a great tool, but a lot of people love being able to log in anywhere and do their accounting, and especially with people working remote and whatnot. Now that we have these tools and all of that, the next level of this is what do you do with, ultimately when you get a tool, you get more time. What do you do with that time? And that time, some people will do that to be able to, handle more clients on that base stuff. Other people will go in, and this is where that whole advisory conversation comes into play on creating higher value services for end clients. And this is, I see, a lot of the highest growth firms today that, we work with hundreds of them at a time. They're going, beyond just the basic bookkeeping into this controllership service and productizing their knowledge and giving different kind of service tiers on that side. And when you use the right tech stack for that, that really frees up your time to, productize your brain and your knowledge as an experienced accountant on that side.
And market and go find new clients that you can share your wealth of wisdom with, right?
Absolutely.
So, and I'm going to wrap up with one other question. It came from something you just said a second ago, and it was more kind of the cloud first type of solutions, QBO, Xero, NetSuite. Forgot the other one you mentioned, but do you see from Giraffe's perspective more more users in any of those particular software solutions? Like, do you have more NetSuite users versus QBO versus Xero? And again, if it's not a fair question, just say it's not a fair question. I can't really answer that, but
yeah, I mean, it depends because I think each of them are really great ecosystems. So like when we go to XeroCon, it's an amazing event. We go to QuickBooks Connect, lots of people there. But I think the big part is when you get into accounting firms that standardize on one, though, tend to put their whole book of business, and then those are the ones that end up being able to move faster and scale faster. So, so the mix is more relevant versus just being able to pick a tool, get your team trained up on it. And once you put that in, the rest of this just starts working like a factory, and everything's like a well-oiled machine then.
And so just in wrapping up, so you just picked up $20 million. So he's go to the office, you can find money just laying around. There's just piles of money laying around at the Jirav office now. Investing that heavily in people on your side and in the technology to continue to build out the product. And if people wanted to get in touch with you, how do they find you and or the right contact at Jirav?
Yeah, so first you have to misspell the word giraffe. It's spelled JIRAV.com. Come check it out there. You can do a trial or request a demo, and we're happy to walk through, learn about your use cases, and share how we can help. You could also personally email me, martin@giraffe.com. I'm happy to guide you to the right folks there. And if you're interested in some fun as well, you can even check out our Instagram and our social channels. We have a lot of cool content for accountants and finance folks. Beyond just the work stuff, there's a lot of fun stuff to follow and educational materials that we loop in there as well.
Fantastic. Oh, and there is one more. What shows are left? We just saw each other at Scaling New Heights about 2 weeks ago. What's next on the travel calendar for Jirav?
I think QuickBooks Connect is coming up.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. There's not a lot.
Yeah, QuickBooks Connect is coming up, I think, in the fall. And then Digital CPA is the next big one. Those are two of my favorite events. And so I'm excited to see everyone there.
Yeah, I actually have never been to Digital CPA. It's just never, the timing has just never been right. Is it, where is that one this year?
It's going to be in Vegas at the Aria.
Okay. Vegas at Aria. Everything's in Vegas.
Yep.
So it's good food, good restaurants. So, all right. Well, that is, now what about any bookkeeping or Botkeeper? Are you going to Botkeeper?
Yes, actually, we'll be there too. There's the Botkeeper conference in September. They're doing their Unchained event. So folks who are fan for kind of AI bookkeeping, and tech automation on that side, highly recommend come check out the Botkeeper event.
And that's in the Boston area, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, great. All right. Well, now people know how to find you. They know where to find you. Hopefully, we've shared some good information that will pique some people's interest. Congratulations on picking up again an extra $20 million. That's a lot of zeros. We look forward to watching the company grow from the sidelines over here.
Thanks a lot, Gary. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks, Martin.